Hello and welcome back. In this section, we're going to be working on one powerful um, feature in PHP. Now, in this lecture, we're going to be working on arrays. Now, we talked about variables in our previous sections. That variables is a container used to store values or data. And another thing you need to know about the variables is that variables can be able to store only one single value or one single data. Variables doesn't have the power to store more than one values. It doesn't have the power to store more than one data. So if you're having, for instance, the name of a variable, you have a variable called name, and you have a value assigned to it as David. That is the only value that can be passed into that variable name. You can put David, comma, Peter, comma, you can't do that. You can't put more than one data right there. You can only harbor one data. So that's about the variable. Now, array is quite different. Array is a more powerful tool in PHP and in other programming languages. So array is just like a variable with a superpower. What does that actually mean? Array can hold more than one values assigned to one single variable. Array is capable of holding more than one value. It's capable of holding more than one value. So you can have a variable declared and pass in more than one value into that particular variable. Alright, so that's just the concept about array. And another thing you need to know is that array, you can pass in more than one value into the array. You can also harbor all data types. All data types can be passed into the array. Very, very, very powerful tool in programming of in PHP. Now let's move on and let's do something really quick with this. Let's come down here, open a new file. So we have array.php. Okay. So I'm just going to do this. All right. All right. Let's take this here so that we can always see what we are doing right here instead of moving front and back. Now let's create our PHP syntax right here. All right. I'm going to declare the first a variable. Okay, so we have dollar, let me give it name, lowercase. Now how do we start up this array? We're going to use what we call a square bracket. Now inside this square bracket is where every of our elements are going to be passed in. So we can this array is capable of holding more than one values and more than one data type. So let's do something with this. I'm just going to put David, comma. I'm going to put 20, which is a number. Okay. So I'm just going to open this a little so we can see what's going on there. I'm going to also wrap my screen. Okay. So I have 30, comma. 300, we have 256, 55, and also we can do something cool with this and add in our H1. Okay, you can still put an HTML right there. All right, I'm going to wrap this my screen, and we're going to use the Alt Z. Okay, Alt Z to wrap the screen up. Okay, so we can see what is going on here. All right, now we have our we have the variable name, and we have the different elements passed into this array. Now this is how we actually create the array. Okay, we have the square bracket opening and closing square bracket, so inside of it is where we pass in the different elements that we want into the array, the different values that we want in the array. So we see this helps us, it gives us the liberty to have more than one value placed into this particular variable. So that's just what the array is all about. And another thing you need to know about the array is that every single value you have here is represented with an index value. So there's an index value passed into every element that we have here. Every value that we have passed in here has what we call an index value. So let's come down here and let's see how we can change this. So we have, let's change this to array.php. Alright, so we have not actually output what we have here. So we have echo name with the dollar sign. Don't forget that. So put a semicolon there. Now let's check what we have here. Okay, so we have array to string conversion is on line 13. Okay, there's an error. Now for we to get the values passed right here, for we to get the values that we have in this array, we're going to do that using, we're going to pass in a square bracket here. And I told you that every element that we have here have an index value passed into every one of them. So, and the index value starts from 0. The first value here starts from 0. The index value for David is 0. The index value for 20 is 1. So that's how it actually works in this array. Now I'm going to put 0 here, and we're going to pass in here. So we have David. Okay. So the bottom line is that we have the array here, and for we to access these values that we have in the array, we are going to be passing the required index value to pick in the values that we have passed into this array. Basically, array is a very powerful tool. It can hold like 1,000, hundreds values can be passed into the array. Basically, another thing you need to know, array is widely used. Okay, we use array more often than we use variables, because array is able to pass in more than one value, and you can pass more than one data types of values into that particular array. Now I'm going to be showing you something. Let's comment on this. I'm going to be showing you, comments is double / we're going to use a print out. I'm going to be showing you what this index is all about. I'm going to use a print out function to read the information we have in the variable. So we have name. Don't forget to put a dollar. Okay, I'm always forgetting that, my bad. All right, now let's check this out. I'm going to reload this. Okay, so we see the array. All right, the name of the array. Okay, so we have the index value 0. You see, the index value 0 is David, index value 1 is 20, 2 is 30, 3 is 300, 4 is 256, 5 is 55, and 6 is hello. Now this is what this particular print out helps us to achieve. It helps us to read the information that the values that we have passed into this particular variable. So this array helps us to read the array. Now why I did this was because I wanted to show you that the array has an index value passed into every one of the elements, the values that are passed into this array. There's an index value on them. So it's through the index value that we actually access every one of the values that we have passed into this array. So we see that we have different data type passed in here. We have a string, we have the number, we have this, we won't pass in the h1, we pass in the HTML right inside this array. So this is a very, very powerful tool. I'm going to comment on this again and go back to what we came from. So remove this and let's put there, let's put 5. Let's see what that gives us. Okay, see 55. So if we remove this and put 6, so that's give us hello. So that's just everything you need to know about the basic about the array, the basic aspect of the array. So it's very easy to manipulate, very easy to work on, and it's something that is a really powerful tool when building applications, when building a real-time project. We use the array more often than just using the variable. The variable can only pass in one value, but using the array you can pass in more than one values data, and you can, this also harbors more than one data type. So it's a very flexible tool that we enjoy using when building projects or something. All right, so that's it we need to know about the array, and I believe having this is a good start, and at the next session we're going to dissect more about the array. Thank you and bye for now.